this project started in August of last year, basically right after Pocket launched their mainnet. We wanted to, I was looking into running nodes and was finding it quite difficult, as most people were. So I opted to talk to my brother, who is a Web3 application developer. He's worked on a number of projects, including interoperability platform stuff, wallets, mining, a bunch of other stuff. So it was kind of he was directly in the space in a way that actually could be perfectly leveraged to start developing a new way of node deployment. And we are very excited about it. We're releasing this for the purpose of testing at this point. It works great with 10 different blockchains, and we'll get into all that, all the features. We're actually going to take you step by step through starting from zero with just a fresh install of Ubuntu server and with Docker configured, which we have documentation that makes this super easy to take a fresh Ubuntu instance, get Docker configured or installed and configured, and then you're off to the races. NodePilot self-installs in just one command. So we're going to kind of take you through that. As you're watching, take note of what you think, what you like, what you don't like. We're here for feedback. We've been using this in a kind of a closed. We have some partners actually in Australia that have been helping with some of the testing. But mostly this has been us. We've tested on DigitalOcean, Bare Metal, other VM platforms, and so far it's been working. It's been working really well, but we can't test everything. So that's where we're hoping this alpha release will inspire people to test things out. So I'm going to now share my screen, and we are. Okay, so we're thinking of this as this is a brand new instance of Ubuntu. We've already gone through these just 9 commands that sets up and installs Docker. We have them all listed out. It's super easy. It's literally just copy and paste with a new instance. Boom, 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 boom. 9 commands. You're done. And now we're ready to start NodePilot, or we're ready to install NodePilot. There you go. You can see the command up at the top. This has many different commands in it. It's just a bash script, but we're going to go ahead and start this going. Got to plug in my password. Okay. All right, and now you can see it's installing. It's going through a couple different. Commands there as well at the bottom. But that was it. It downloaded NodePilot and it put the executable directly in your home directory. And now from there, it's just a matter of calling NodePilot. So you can see it says starting Pocket Node Manager, and then it said found Docker. And so right now it's just launching. You need to sometimes give it a few moments to fully. Oh, okay, there you go. And so it says web server started, and then it says view the admin control panel and it gives you a local IP address and a public IP address. We can now go to our public IP address, and when you go to your public IP address, you will have this warning because the certificate is self-signed. So what actually just happened is a self-signed certificate was generated, but you simply click, proceed. Now you're on your own certificate, and this is the first screen of NodePilot. You put in a name, you put in an email, and you put in a password. We actually don't send this data anywhere, and we won't unless you give us permission to. So I'm going to just go ahead and put any email down because it actually doesn't technically matter. So I'm just going to put a password here, and click submit. All right, so we are now in Node Pilot. Fresh install. You can see right here, you can see how much memory you have. Now, actually, this is, we did find that this is a bug. It actually doesn't read the whole memory that you have, but it does accurately read how much memory is in use. So there's a few little bugs with the dashboard that obviously is kind of part of alpha, but you have you do have 8 vCPUs, so this is a 4-core 8-thread, and then you have the proper amount of disk space that's being used right now. So the first thing you want to do is you want to look at the top. You want to make sure that your ports are all set up prior to doing this off of DigitalOcean or something like that. You obviously don't need to set up port forwarding because there's no router in front of your server. It's just natively on the internet, and you just need to open up those all those ports within inside of the instance itself, which the initial script that you use to install does all that for you anyways. So, but if you're doing it at home, you will need to set up some port forwarding, and we have documentation on that, and it also explains it all here for you as well. But Node Pilot checks and realizes, hey, yeah, your 443 is good to go, and that's what's most important for continuing on the DNS process. And so now you click here to the DNS process. I'm going to use a domain here called Dope Nodes, because only the dopest nodes for Node Pilot. I just want to copy my public IP address. And there's only two entries I need to make. I need to make an @ which is just the root, and then I want an asterisk. The asterisk is actually a wildcard, because what happens in the Node Pilot process when it's doing the TLS, it automatically generates 50 certificates for different subdomains just right off the bat, and that makes it super easy for adding nodes, because you can just it's just already pulling from certificates it already has. It doesn't have to recreate certificates every time you deploy a node, and that's what the wildcard does. So you click. So I'm going to go ahead and save that DNS entry. It might take a second to go all the way through, but here's where then you would put dopenodes.com.
Also, really quick, sorry to interrupt, but was it nodes plural or nodes singular?
Oh shoot, did I? Wow, we would have been here a long time. That was a great call.
No problem.
Oh man, that was great. Oh man, I was getting nervous there. I was like, oh no. Of course, all the times we tested it, but now, okay, dope nodes. There you go. So yeah, it all happened really fast. There you go. So Node Pilot can automatically tell, oh, okay, yeah, this is properly sending to you. And now you're at the point where now we just need to generate the certificates. So you come to the TLS configuration, you click automatically configure, and now it's actually you can read the output right here of what's happening. And so it's actually creating certificates for 50 different nodes. And now you can actually see it all right here. These are all the nodes. Okay, there you go. It's now been successfully created. So once the certificate's there, Node Pilot automatically redirects you. All right, there we go. Now we're operating entirely from your domain. You can access this domain, obviously, from anywhere. But now we get into the fun stuff. We can start deploying blockchain nodes. So it's as simple as coming over here to add, and now you can choose from any of these different nodes that we have supported right now. Like this is the main platform, but then there might be different test nets or mainnet, or for instance, we have Rinkeby here. And then depending on, you can also set up, a full node or archival node for some of these. So all of these we have to, add in custom. But the whole idea here is, once it's added, then basically anyone on the Node Pilot platform can just deploy them. And then you can adjust how much RAM and how much memory you want it to take. A Rinkeby is relatively lightweight, so I'm plenty happy with that.
And a quick question on adding different types of nodes. Is it as simple as adding a PR to this app, or is it kind of gated by the support that Pocket Network has?
We are going to be opening that up. Right now, it's not a PR. We are going to be opening that up for just this kind of initial alpha. It's just kind of like hard coded in, but we are wanting to go to more of a kind of plugin system where actually each of these different chains kind of operate as a plugin, and so people could actually add chains to Node Pilot with relative ease. And this is something that then is kind of decentralized from just needing to come from Node Pilot or other contributors or something of that nature. Right now, we're kind of keeping things simple, and that's the future at least. So now you can actually see that already we're starting to sync blocks. This is an entire output from your node, and all this are logs. All your logs are actually being generated here, and you can access all your logs. And I'll talk a little bit more about logs a little bit down the road. All right. So, anyways, there's that one. I'm just going to go ahead and add a mainnet. Mainnet is a little bit more powerful, so we'd want to create more or give it more resources and deploy, and boom, you're already there. I'm going to now, or I'm going to go ahead and just do an AVA as well. That's actually good for that node. My computer is going to be screaming here in just a moment with all this. So let me know if you can hear the fans ablazing. I'm going to go ahead and add one more. I'm going to make it a Rinkeby. But actually, maybe I want to do a little bit more. I can click advanced. Here, you can actually make this an external node. So this isn't one that is running directly on this instance of NoPilot. This could be an endpoint somewhere else. It could be from one of your other instances. It could, any endpoint. You can make this a Pocket endpoint. For all, you could loop around and have Pocketception, but you wouldn't want to do that, obviously. But so this is one of the desires of Node Pilot, to be more than just simply node deployment. It's also a way of doing orchestration. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a Rinkeby here. I'm going to make it managed because I don't have a Rinkeby endpoint right now, at least. I'm going to go ahead and start that up. Every time there's a new chain that is deployed, what also happens is a load balancer is automatically deployed as well. This means that it's load balanced endpoint. So as your Pocket is querying Rinkeby nodes, it would be going between both of them. And then you can easily add more nodes down the road. You can spin up more remote nodes. You can spin up more local nodes. Whatever you desire, you can do, and you can keep adding to it because because for each chain and each network on a chain, and a completely individual load balancing endpoint is automatically generated and happening in the background. So we're going to get into the validators. Now, this is the exciting part. One thing you do need to be sure to do is before you start with validators, you need to make sure that all your chains, you have all the chains deployed that you're going to deploy. You have to go through the unstaking process to add new chains. Well, to start off with, because that's the nature of the protocol right now, you just need to make sure that you have all the chains added that you want to use for your Pocket validator. So here we go. You can deploy on mainnet or testnet. We recommend, just kind of keeping, unless you're doing some really advanced stuff with either your networking, we just recommend that you keep all this kind of standard. 2 CPUs, 2 gigs. That's what is expected for a Pocket node, and then you generate a password. Siege right now is actually interesting because the current seeds, at least for mainnet, are not working. And so we do have an install guide or a bunch of documentation that we'll be launching as well. But we have some recommended. We have a recommended seed that you can copy and paste here. Originally, we didn't have this, but once the seed nodes went down, we realized that that could be a possible pain point for users. So we just put it here. Ideally, once the seed nodes are up, you can just use default and be perfectly fine. But at least for now, we have seeds that you can copy and paste in. Anyways, I'm being a little long-winded, but at the end of the day, you just fill this out and you click create node. Now, you got to be a little patient. We don't have anything showing, that it's working right now. You just be a little patient because it is working. It's actually pulling down the instance. It's running all these RPCs. It's listening because there's certain points when setting up Pocket Validator that you have to respond with your password. And so there's a lot kind of going on in the background. So it's not as quick as the other ones. But as you can see, it's absolutely quick enough. And right off the bat, right to the races, you got Pocket running. And so you're already block 42. So it's already syncing. Pocket actually syncs really quickly. So that's one of the huge advantages, really nice aspects to Pocket. I'm actually going to also run a testnet because we're going to go through the validation process actually with testnet. And so testnet seeds are actually just fine. It's going through the process again. So here we go. We're right back at it. One thing that I didn't mention before is you might notice that unlike other node instances, we actually have a place to insert Pocket commands. So this could be, anything that command you need to send to Pocket, you can actually do right here, directly through here. And now we're going to get into kind of the actual staking process itself. You've got a wallet address with currently 0 in it. So what you need to do is you need to send Pocket to this node. But actually, I believe the testnet is actually, the faucet is actually down, which it just went down today. Yeah, it just went down today. So we'll have to. So I have another way. I have another instance that I'm going to quickly switch to. Actually, I might as well show this. This is actually kind of cool. Here, let me show you what I'm doing here. So I stopped Pocket. I stopped Pocket node here, and I'm going to get rid of the instance that I just created. And so I've already created a folder here called Pocket Node New or Node Pilot New. And I'm just going to drag this .node pilot into there so that we don't have any, so we don't have the folder out here on your home. Okay, I'm going to take this other instance that I have and I'm going to put it out here. So now when I start Node Pilot again, it is going to launch from that new instance because everything is actually stored directly inside of the that folder. Your entire setup, everything, the chains data, the all your configs, absolutely everything. So that's one of the advantages of Node Pilot is it can easily be backed up and it can easily be redeployed. So if you need to move from AWS to DigitalOcean, there's obviously some things you're going to need to do with your DNS and things of that nature. But you have all your certificates, you have everything all ready to go for that kind of redeployment if you need to move it anywhere. And it also backs it up for you. So your private keys, everything are all backed up as well. So now I'm going to go back to my Windows machine here, and I'm going to... okay, so this is actually... what is it? p-rep.community. So I'm actually at a completely new domain right now because I already went through the whole process on a different setup. All right. And now this is it takes a moment as the RPC calls are being sent to every single chain. But I'm going to come over here to testnet. And so if you remember, there was a validate button over here. All you do is click that. The moment you click that, you'll see that a transaction happened in the node output. And then your balance, that once you send your POKT to the wallet, it updates the balance over here. It'll then stake everything other than one pocket, which that one pocket can be used for transactions down the road. But it stakes everything. And then you can kind of get a bunch more details here on your node. You have the chains that it's using. You have the public key. You have the URL, and this is the important part because this is what we used. This is one of the 50 that we generically generated when you started NodePilot. And so it just pulled one of those domains, threw it into the config file for your validator, and that's the URL for your validator. So there you go. This is a functioning node on testnet. That is, and if it was on mainnet, it would be serving real-time applications. Right now it's on testnet though, and you will also notice that there's different versions here because we found out over the weekend that the testnet hasn't been updated to 6.1. So we actually reverted back to 6.0, and but then for mainnet, obviously we want to be on 6.1 for all the mainnet. So any mainnet validators that you deploy are going to be on the newest one. But testnet right now is one behind until testnet itself catches up. I'm going to show you just real quick the backup process. It's super easy. Would you like to download a zip file of your NodePilot configuration? And you click, yeah, sure. I feel like times have been flying, at least for me. So I just checked the clock. We're at kind of 10 minutes left, at least till the official cutoff. This is 90% of what NodePilot is. At least right now, we have more features coming down, but just kind of in general, this is the basics. Right? You can deploy nodes, deploy validators. And would love if any of you guys had questions, feedback. Now would kind of be the time to get into any details that I might have not covered.
I just had one quick question. It would be really great to also see statistics on the amount of storage, the amount of disk space that each node is using. Is that easy to surface?
That actually is not that hard because we're already showing your whole disk. So breaking that up into each container, yeah, that's not too complicated. At least right now, that wasn't direct. I felt like, at least for me, memory was most important to know how much I'm using, but actually storage is just as relevant as well. So that's absolutely doable. I'm going to actually quickly switch my screen here back to the Ubuntu instance just to show you what the file structure is like. So this config file, this is an old config file, so it's but it has some keys on it that I want to save. So, but when you open up, you're going to have chains and configs. Chains. This is going to be all the raw chain data from each of these different chains. This is going to be the heavy file, right? All the raw blockchain data is being stored here. But we wanted to be sure to separate chains from the configs because the configs is the meat. You can always resync a node, but the configs, that's what makes NodePilot, and that's what makes your setup. And so once you open it up, you have all your Let's Encrypt, you have your logs, you have your Nginx, you have your Nginx load balancers, and then you have the nodes themselves. And these are each of these nodes. If you open it up, this is a Pocket node. You've got your keys. You've got your root, which is more data, including your configs, and but it's all here and it's all open. NodePilot itself, every time you this whole configuration that I have currently running, it can actually all be seen, like the chains folder or chains deployment wise. You open up chains.json, and they're all here. Oh wait, it's being used by. I think because it's being. Oh, okay. There you go. Anyways, so this is a config file. So this is telling NodePilot which what chains they are, what IDs they are. We're not hiding it in some kind of database that can't be accessed. It's all right here, and this is what makes NodePilot so easy to back up and then restore, because the chain or NodePilot itself just looks at these config files and rebuilds your entire setup.
I have another quick question. So with the chains that you set up for Ethereum and Avalanche, they all were assigned their own subdomain, which is like, their RPC endpoint, presumably. And, what's to stop someone from, trying to just access that directly instead of going through your Pocket validator to be able to access it?
Great question. So all those domains are created. They're not all used. The only nodes that use domains right now are validators, Pocket validators. But the reason we built it like this is because we would like people the ability to do all sorts of custom setups where they have where they maybe want to put something out there, maybe with where you need to still have a password, right? For like a Bitcoin node, you have to also submit a password, or there's ways to lock down those endpoints so that just not everyone's using them, but you can still make them accessible to the web. Or maybe you want to make your load balancer for Ethereum, because you have multiple Ethereum nodes running. Maybe you want to make that load balancer accessible through a domain or something like that. So we just basically pre-established 50 different nodes or 50 different subdomains. We're not using them right now with anything other than validators.
Have you given much thought to making it easy for people to upgrade their nodes using NodePilot?
Yeah, upgrading is actually kind of our next big task. Upgrading the whole NodePilot instance itself, and also upgrading individual nodes. It will be as simple as having a update button right here next to your information. It'll just say update, and you click that. And because this is Docker, it just shuts down your current instance. It then pulls the updated container from the official repo, and then it just simply turns it on. We'll be able to keep up with the latest and the greatest really easily. If there's an update that maybe breaks a few things, or requires some different configurations or something like that, it'll take a little bit more work to make the update seamless. But yeah, that's super easy to do. Way easier to do on NodePilot through Docker than if you were just running all these as individual applications on an OS.
All updates will be curated. We'll make sure that they work with the current, setup with NodePilot, and that there's, not going to break before we actually push that update's available. So then everyone can, when they see that update button, they know that it's going to be able to update on their machine. And if it would require some change to NodePilot because they significantly change something, or custom stuff has to be done in order to make that transition, we'll make those changes, and then we'll push a new NodePilot. So you'll get a notification, hey, there's a new NodePilot available. And guess what? Now you can update to the latest of, this chain, which changed a bunch of stuff.
Cool. We will be linking to this, to these docs, which can literally take you from a fresh install of Ubuntu, setting up Docker. Again, these are the 9 commands that I had mentioned before, and then there's the one command for installing all of this, and then you have the one NodePilot command to start running it. And then we have everything we've covered in this video. We actually talk about step by step, helping people through each point.
Will you support multiple clients for each chain? So, for example, Geth versus Open Ethereum versus whatever else?
Yeah. Yep. And that's actually something that has been more recently surfaced because of the issues that we've had with Geth on Pocket. So that's actually in part of what we're planning right now. I think we're just deploying Open Ethereum, Ryan, is it open Ethereum right now, or is it Geth still?
Ethereum is currently running on Geth. XDAI is running on Open Ethereum. Right. And then we'll be changing that. Actually, the internal stuff has already been done. Like internally, it separates out the different clients for each. So most of them don't have different clients, but Ethereum, for example, has 2 clients, Geth and Open Ethereum, but we only have Geth enabled right now, and we don't have it in the UI. But it's just a matter of finishing that, finishing that feature and pushing it, which will be very soon. That's part of the updating, because in order to be able to update these, we need to know more than just what's running. We need to know what client's running. We need to know what version of that client's running, and all that fun stuff.
Another interesting piece that I would love to see surfaced here is kind of just like the profits that are made from running a Pocket node. Are there other community apps that exist for showing this data?
There are. I know that Coder. Coder has some averages for seeing the averages of Pocket rewards on the network. But yeah, there's more tools coming out. Node Pilot right now isn't. We don't have that built in, but there's actually quite a few different projects that are focusing on Block Explorer / monitoring. And the great thing about Docker is, ideally, if we're able to, if some of these other community projects are able to kind of get off the ground and create an easy way, we can easily plug any of that and have that automatically deploy within Node Pilot. And so you can have your own local instance of some kind of monitoring microservice or something like that going. So yeah, there in the community notes, community call, we can ping a link to what at least exists right now.
But at the same time, it's easy enough to share any of that information. We have access to all of it via the RPC server. We already have all the data. It's just a matter of sticking it on the screen. So yeah, we can totally add that stuff, and totally plan to add that stuff in the near future.
Yeah. Awesome.
We're setting it up completely as open as humanly possible. And then one of our upcoming iterations is we're going to be pulling out each of these chains. So for example, Ethereum, and we're building them into a separate open source repository, which will include each chain as an actual plugin into the application. Shane mentioned that about plugins earlier. The idea is, it'll be self-contained for each chain, exactly what's needed to run it, how you run it, how you get the data from it. Basically, every data point and every thing that we need and that we use within Node Pilot for running all of these chains will be available there. So then that's exactly where people could, hey, I issue PRs with updates to configs, or stick it in their own project and start running instances themselves, doing whatever they want.
So does anyone have any kind of final questions? We can also answer any questions async as well, but right now is your time if you got any.
I do have one more. So how small is that config folder? And if it is small enough, it would be really cool to see some kind of like poor man's backup being done, where you kind of like maybe every time a change is made, the Node Pilot instance zips the existing folder, stores it in like a versioning archive, and then makes the new one. And then also maybe potentially you could add like a backup email address or just something simple like that, where you would get a backup of your config.
Well, yeah, configs definitely wouldn't come via email, but versioned backups is definitely that's definitely on the list of things to do, because anytime you update a node, why not? Why not just set them aside and say, oh, well, here's the previous config before I did here's the everything, so you could just take that data, plop it right back in and run it, and you're back up and running just like before. So using Docker and
go for it, Ryan.
We just have complete control. All the things that have been difficult for so long with running these nodes don't have to be, you know? So that's just what's so fun and what's so cool about this.
And so to answer the one comment you made, how big is it? This one's actually a gig. So it's actually kind of substantial with all the with all these configs and
it's Pocket. It's normally
Pocket has.
Pocket does not allow you to separate out things cleanly. You cannot just say, here's my data, here's my keys, here's my config. That's what you do with most chains. But it gets a little difficult because Pocket has like one database, which you can set data to, and it kind of pushes it off there. But the other stuff goes by default into that root base config thing. So we end up with extra stuff inside of there that we don't want in there. You know, that's data that shouldn't be in there, but there's no. We play all sorts of games with the config to make the changes we do make.
Well, and I'm not sure, what's kind of Tendermint limitations or whatnot. It's Pocket is a little bit of a different node, and so so I went ahead and selected the Pocket node, so it is 1 gig. So most all of that is coming from the Pocket side. But hey, I mean, 1 gig. I mean, you can put it on a flash drive, so it's not a huge deal. Actually,
zipping it up is the problem if you're trying to zip up that much.
So anyways, the instance that I have right now is mainnet and a testnet, as you can see here. And so, anyways, I didn't show you the screen pop up, but it zipped up that 1 gig, and now I can just download it. So that's so that's how the download works. So you can download it to all sorts of any device you want. Again, you want to keep all this really secure though. But yeah, this has been a really awesome project. It's been really fun. We would love people to test this out. We aren't considering we're considering this an alpha, so this isn't like production ready. It is good to try out with testnet. It is good to try out with mainnet. This is ready to start using, just albeit in a cautious, relatively cautious state. Everything is Docker based, so much of this is just happening through Docker. So if you trust the images coming from these projects, you're going to have the same kind of consistency in terms of each of these nodes running and everything like that. We're just really shaping up the GUI and the automation side of things.
Yeah, you guys could start nodes running, see how they work. If you see any, look at the configs. You guys who've run some of these chains for a long time, look at the configs and say, why in the world do you have this like this? We did the configs the best we understand based on how I've run nodes in the past and based on best practices. But a lot of you guys know a lot more than we do about running some of these chains. So any feedback you can give us would be fantastic. Or questions like, hey, why isn't this guy peering? Shouldn't he be peering or whatever? That's exactly the kind of thing where we had a little, didn't realize that, but that's exactly, and maybe you guys have the solution. We don't. We're working as hard as we can, but dude, you guys could really help us get this exactly where it needs to be.
Because best practice deployment, that's really what we're looking for here. And especially best practice integration with Pocket as well. Cool. Well, any other final comments?
Super awesome, cool, massive project. Man, that's a lot of work. Thank you.
Hey, appreciate it. We do have a proposal out right now to help kind of fund this and fund getting us from alpha to a version 1. But yeah, we'd love any feedback on the proposal and any support on the proposal as well. All right, guys.
Thanks, guys. Super excited to try this out.
Thanks all.
All right, guys. Thank you. Have a good one.